Hey.
Yeah, no. So hey guys, we're back for the first time. If you guys hadn't noticed, we taken a hiatus. We were actually we went full bore at the beginning of COVID because there was absolutely nothing else we could have done.
Yep.
Business was shut down. No one wanted to see anybody, and we're here like, hey, we're kind of like our bubble. Everyone has a bubble of friends that they hung out with. So we had it started, and we went gung ho. And when it was called the Average Joe Daily Show, but then it went to a weekly show, then it went to a monthly show, and then it went to a no show.
A no show. We didn't show.
But we're still calling it the Average Joe Daily Show. I've been meeting up with Ethan Frost. He's a historian. He's a history major graduate at what school? I think Utah Valley College, and he's a bit of a geek like me. So we've been doing some like movie reviews and talking about where the MCU is going and all the other stuff that Disney's doing and Star Wars and Lord of the Rings type stuff. So, but today I have Shawn back. Shawn was the original founder of Average Joe Daily Show with me, and Ethan's going to be joining us today. He's going to be a little late. I didn't tell him that we were already going.
We're live,
so
you better show up.
Yeah, so he's going to show up and he's going to be like, hey, you guys are already going live? What's going on here? But I really thought that we needed to get back at it and get into the swing of things.
Yeah, and plus there's so much going on right now.
There's so much going on.
We can't keep our mouths shut.
Right. We were going to wait until Shawn got back from his vacation. He was going to Florida.
But I can't wait. This subject matter that we're going to be hitting today is just too important.
I was just like, okay, dude, I have a topic. I have a theory that no one else is speaking about on YouTube, on social media, or anything about AI. So today's topic is about AI technology, and how it's going to change our future immediately and for the long term, hopefully. So I hope you don't mind. That was the title I gave it. You don't.
I don't care, but
talk to you about
I made this just now.
Yeah. AI is a little baby right now.
Actually, the concept is opposite of what you're thinking.
Oh, it is? Okay,
so that would be one of our children being raised by AI.
Wow.
So there's multiple ways to think about what's going to be coming down the pipe.
I also see it as the new generation being born right now is going to grow the same time AI is growing.
Thus.
Yes. Yeah,
this is going to be a thing. Who influenced your child on social media?
Yeah.
Well, who's going to be influencing your child in the future? So I have a lot of thoughts about this. But
you do?
Hit it.
Okay. Well, I have. So I came in. I woke up this morning with a really a big positive spin on this whole outcome. Even though a lot of people are talking about how scared they are and all that good stuff. But immediately, I see some exciting things happening.
I agree. There's going to be some exciting stuff, but I also want to approach with caution.
I think that goes without saying. I think even the creators know about it. They're taking precautions as much as they can. But then again, the only problem is it's kind of like giving someone a gun, right? Giving someone a responsible gun, they're gonna use it responsibly. But if someone's gonna use the gun and don't care about the rules and the laws, they're still going to do what they're going to do.
Well, yeah, you can't control everybody.
Right. So that's how I see it. But the things that it's going to change in our lives, in our lifetime, that we're going to see in our lifetime,
it's going to be crazy.
I think it's going to be quite amazing. It's going to be a crazy thing.
So I don't know. I think I told you, but I just did a presentation at a law firm, and the last part of the presentation was on AI, because I felt it was important to introduce them or to make them more aware of the growth in the AI industry. Because some of my clients, if you don't know, I do a lot of computer service work. So I have a set number of small business clients that I go around and visit. And most of them are just doing their thing. You know, they're like us. We're working, we're doing our thing. I don't have time for all the AI nonsense news that's out because I got to physically do stuff in
Right.
order to make my business work.
Right. You can't spend. You're not a news network that
Yeah.
spends a whole lot of your time on just investigating what news is coming out.
What's new?
That deals with the technology.
But what's going to happen is all my clients, and I know this is going to happen, is they're going to get slapped in the face with all this AI stuff
Yeah.
because it's being injected in every facet of every other company that's out there willing to adopt it.
Yeah.
And then they're going to interact with those companies, whether it be a cloud service that they have to input their data to, or whether it's some other service that's locally or like a big service. Amazon is going to be going heavy on AI soon.
Oh yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
they
Apple is.
they were one of the first adopters of having these robots picking up packages within the warehouse and moving it from place to place within the warehouse. So they've already adopted that years ago.
Yep, they were like one of their famous warehouse things was that the robots going around.
Right. That's one of the reasons why we can get our packages as quick as we do.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have little people out there just running around as fast as they can. I'm sure some places they do, but I think the robots still have to get to a human, and then the human still has to do some technology. But
to do some selecting
but
and
I think
sort.
But I think that selecting sort job will be taken over as well.
Yeah, there'll be a lot. I think a lot of people are afraid. Oh, my job's at risk.
Right.
But there's going to be new jobs created from AI.
Right. No, I think that it's right to feel afraid. I mean, how afraid were we when the internet was first invented?
I wasn't afraid at all.
And made widely available. I mean, it was just the unknown. I think people are afraid of the unknown.
They were. I think the internet brought about some scary things for people that were of the older generation.
Yeah.
But I was young at the time, like in the 90s.
Yeah.
When the internet actually started to become something.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue that in the late 80s it was something, but it didn't become something until the late 90s.
Right. No, I agree with you because I know I'm about your age, so when it came out, it was kind of nice to know that you didn't have to carry this giant phone book everywhere you went.
Yeah, it's like the vast store of knowledge of mankind is available at your fingertips.
Yeah.
And now we carry it around. We have a phone that everybody's glued to a phone.
It's like a supercomputer now, you know.
Yeah, and you've got access.
Supercomputers, years ago.
It was a dream.
Yeah.
It was a dream watching Star Trek. Just dreaming about.
Talking about that, I just rewatched. What's that Galaxy movie there with
Galaxy Quest?
Galaxy Quest.
I love
with
that
Tim
movie.
Allen. Yeah, I just finished watching that a couple days ago.
That's one of the best spoofs of like Star Trek that ever was made. I love that movie.
I never watched it straight through. It was the first time watching it straight through, and I was like, this is good. This is all right. This is better than I thought.
Yep, I love that. Sigourney Weaver's in there, Tim Allen. Yeah. It's just a great cast.
Yeah, what's his name? The guy that was the...
He was in Die Hard. He was the criminal in Die Hard.
Was it that same guy?
The guy who played the
Spock,
the Spock replacement.
Was he also like one of the teachers, one of the professors at Hogwarts in Harry Potter?
Yes.
Snape, Professor Snape. Anyways. It looked like him. It sounded like him.
Yeah. Yes, it was. I think it was. Yes.
All right, I'll have to do my research.
He's a very talented guy.
We have laptops right in front of us, but we're not researching.
No, because we're going off our brains here.
Yeah.
I want to still use our brains as much as possible. For me, looking something up is the last resort.
Yeah, no. If I want to make sure that I'm giving you correct information and I'm not speaking like that,
verify it.
Yeah, if I need to verify it, I'll bring up the computer and verify it that way. But most of this is the average Joe's take on what's going on with today's technology, and I think we consider ourselves pretty average.
I'm pretty average.
I feel like I'm pretty average.
Yeah, we're just working for a living. We're not like well-to-do. We don't have like science degrees. And,
No.
No,
in fact, I don't even have a college degree. So
do you consider yourself like an expert at any of the subject matter that we're going to be talking about?
I do not consider myself an expert, except for maybe visual arts. The new industry that's going to be created or destroy what we known as art creation. But I think we still will need people for most of it for our immediate future. We're definitely need.
In the short term, I think.
Yeah, we need
in the short term.
They need to learn. They can't learn without people.
Yeah, and maybe this ubiquitous nature of AI will give rise to the ability for people to have more time. To be creative in their own way,
right, yeah.
rather than be bogged down by monotonous tasks throughout
right.
the day.
So I was just at the Maine Science Festival. We get hired to film this segment, which is one of my favorite segments. Part of the Maine Science Festival is the 5-Minute Genius. So basically, you have these scientists that are doing work and research right here within our country, within our state, and they have 5 minutes to explain their work in layman's term, so that the average Joe can understand them.
Like a sales pitch, like you need to distill it and summarize it so that it's quick and
yes.
Yes,
and they do have 5 more minutes of Q&A afterwards.
Yep.
But there's 5 minutes they have to explain it, and one of the topic was how does AI basically earn our trust? I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be a complicated matter because AI is going to be just a tool. It needs to be just a tool,
yes.
Not something that you have to trust. But unfortunately, wherever people are involved, and this is just my opinion based on human nature, because humans are humans, and humans love to take advantage of other humans. And I see it in the industry I'm in. I do the IT industry. And I see all the malware and all the password attacks and all the malicious and mischievous behavior that goes on to try to make $1.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt in my mind that there'll be bad actors trying to take advantage of AI or misuse it. That said, there's going to be some really cool stuff that we're able to do with it, but we have to keep all that other stuff in check.
Well, I think it would be just like any piece of technology that comes out, is that they'll have to have safeguards that's ready to battle that. You know how we have people working on the other side of these people that are creating these viruses and stuff like that to overcome what they're doing. So I think it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah,
with
the white hat hackers and the black hat hackers.
Right.
Hopefully I get that right. I think the white hat hackers are the good guys that are working for
sounds right.
stopping them, and
it's like the old Wild West, right? Bad guy wears black and white guys wear white. Good guys wear white. They wear white, most of them, but anyways, in the movies, anyways. But anyways, I thought that was to me that's gonna happen. You can't really stop this progress from happening, because
could, but
the thing
the industry doesn't want to stop.
As soon as you stop, though, there's gonna be someone that doesn't. That's the thing that I see. As soon as you stop, there might be someone that doesn't, because it's not one of those things. I mean, how easy is it for you to make this product trademarked or whatever it is, so that no one can copy it?
Ain't gonna happen with this,
right? Because let me just talk to you about. I mean, I was listening to a talk show on the radio a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, and the discussion came up and spoke about back in the day when technology was created, people withheld copyrights and trademarks until they've squeezed every penny out of us as possible, like the AM radio. And then, they withheld. They had the technology for TV, and they withheld that technology to the public until they made as much money as they could with AM radio. And they brought up TV, and as soon as TV was available, then they also released FM, but they already had that technology. How much do you think they're doing that today with AI technology?
100% that the companies that are developing these large language models have much better versions that they're using internally than what they're allowing the peasants of the world, the public, to access. And that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up, is that there's going to be a dark side to this. And the dark side to me is human nature. Again, I always go back to human nature, because Google, Amazon, Apple, and OpenAI in combination with Microsoft have the better large language model that they're going to use themselves internally to get a leg up on the industry, while the rest of us little peasant people access the models that have less capabilities.
So we're having the leftovers, the scraps.
We always do.
This is going against, I think, isn't it going against what OpenAI originally started it as? It was OpenAI, and they were going to be transparent and showing where they are to the public as they're moving along. I mean, I think, isn't that why there's a little bit more excitement? There's more like this like quick pace changes are happening every single day.
I think that's true. Unfortunately, Microsoft invested, from what I understand, billions into OpenAI.
Yeah,
so to think that they're not going to influence the direction of it and how it's run would be a little bit naive.
Right. They did become a more like for-profit. They were non-profit, right? And now they're trying to put like a cap on earnings, on whatever dividends that investor makes. But it's still, okay, you're only allowed to earn 100 times what you donated, and someone like Microsoft donates, the first money that they invested was $1 billion. Oh, $100 billion. Well, that's a lot of money, even at 100% profit,
Yeah.
So 100 times a profit, not 100%, 100 times a profit, because 100% would be just another 2 billion instead of 100 billion. Got to work on my math here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think what I wanted to talk to you about today was a topic that I don't think has ever been
All right,
discussed.
I'm waiting for this. I've been waiting for this. This is why I couldn't wait.
But I couldn't. Well, no, this is why I couldn't wait. But you might have something that I hadn't thought about as well. So I don't know. Should we go with something positive first? Do you have something positive to share or something negative?
You're leaning more on the positive side, and I'm leaning more on the human nature side.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be good because we can kind of balance each other out. Because I feel the positivity because I use AI almost every day now.
Right. Yeah.
But I also am like, oh man, if I'm doing this, who is using this another way?
Right. Yeah.
That's not so beneficial.
Right. But these guys that are testing the AI, I have faith that they're gonna think like the criminals and try these things out with AI. And when it comes to it, that's all you have, because you're not right there watching them do everything.
Well, I'm gonna come back on you and go, I had faith that our military would not allow China to fly a balloon over the United States.
Well, yeah.
But it happened.
Yeah, no, I had faith.
I had faith that they would be on it.
I had faith that as soon as it touched, it would come down. I mean, anyways, that's another topic.
So that goes into play with the faith in people that are going to be safeguarding things for us.
Yeah, so I think it depends on how much politics is played.
Yeah,
that's what we're seeing here.
That's one of the things that
right
I have to bring up.
Right. So that's it depends on how much politics is played into it, because I think the opportunities that it's going to avail human society is going to be tremendous. I think in the long run, possibly it'll bring people closer together. You see how we're kind of like divided a little bit now. So since we're sort of heading in that direction of politics, all right, what if AI is now used, since it's being used in all different facets of life, it starts to be used by our government, and they meet
you see
together.
Me roll my eyes.
They meet in Congress. Okay, this is my utopian vision of this possible outcome. Okay, you have this AI scenario play out every move that we vote on, and they vote on those scenarios, and there's no feelings in it because it's AI. AI is just telling you the facts, and not, well, your people and that not my people, and whatever. Your party, my party. AI doesn't have that. It's just, if you choose to build railroads and get rid of highways, this is the outcome, this is the cost, this is how it's going to affect the economy.
I think that would be great for a simplistic algorithm, but not a large language model that's trained by people. Because right now the large language models are being trained by people, and they're attaining a bias from the people that are training it. So it's also my understanding that that bias will carry over into the larger models, where they're starting to see emergence, which is anomalies that pop up that they're like, oh, we didn't know it could do this. Where it starts to think in a different way. And it doesn't think, it's just calculating what the best next response is. So it's just going to come up with responses that it thinks are the... No, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what
I totally understand it.
That is my ideal outcome of how it changes the world for the better in government, at least.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of categorize where I'm going with how AI affects us and all that good stuff in different categories of life. And I think government has great potential of solving those arguments of, hey, our way is better, no, our way is better. And then what does AI say? Yeah,
what are just the... But I think that would be, again...
But if there's a way to curtain off the biases, if there's a way to equalize the biases that go into the learning that AI has to go through, I think that would be ideal. I think it would be in everyone's best interest to have a diversity of thought and ideas.
I agree, 100%.
I mean, this is a country built on religious freedoms such as freedom of speech, and I think the freedom of speech should also be. I know that AI is international, so you can't say, "Hey, you're going to take your ideals and call it good," type of thing.
Like the Western ideals.
Yeah, the Western ideals.
Everybody works with the Western ideals.
Yeah, exactly. So we can't force the rest of the world to follow those ideals. They're going to have to want it for themselves and for their own governments and stuff like that. But that's my ideal. I mean, wouldn't it be cool to be like, you get an argument with your wife, you're like, or your friend, you're like, oh man, this is going to be so much better if we took a vacation like this and hit this spot and that spot, and then AI says, this is the ideal situation for you to both enjoy everything you want to enjoy on this trip.
So you use the AI as a mediator.
Yeah, as a mediator of sorts.
Third person, your counselor.
Yeah, basically like your counselor almost is like, hey, this is, but this is, you don't have to go this way, but this is the ideal. You guys still get to decide, but this is why AI says that this is the ideal situation with millions of options that it looked at, and this is what we've come to the conclusion of doing to make sure your trip is the most ideal. You both get the food that you want. You both get the physical activity that you want, the sightseeing. You both spend enough time to take pictures that you want to take, things like that. I mean, I really think AI, so that being said, my daughter and I came up with an idea for an app for AI, and hopefully we'll find a way to make it a reality, because it seems like a lot of people are looking for the same solution, but all in one location. And I think AI is the only thing that's really going to help make that possible in bringing all the different trips. So we got this idea when we were going to Niagara Falls, and we're like, man, don't you wish we had like instructions on what's going where, instead of having to search all day for hours, it seems like, looking for the right things to do before our trip, I mean, how much time do you have to do to invest in research the things that you want to do on a trip, right? I mean, you've been on a lot more trips lately than I have. So you understand the planning involved in trying to make a trip as productive as possible.
Yes, and I can...
Enjoyable.
Because I've been messing with AutoGPT for a little while now, I can see, because that's a goal-oriented list of tasks you give the AI. I could see your idea, like, okay, these are our goals on the trip. come up with the best scheduling and planning for us.
Right.
I can see that working out pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, am I looking to get rid of travel agents?
Maybe.
I think they'll be the ones that teach us how to use that.
Yep.
They become, the instructors. I think our third person is here
Yeah,
to
let's
get
go.
him included in this discussion.
And then I'll come up with my dystopian.
That's all right. We have already started. So that microphone way back.
How's it
there is
going?
yours, okay. This is Shawn. This is Ethan. Oh, video is ended. What the heck?
What's going on with that?
I don't know.
Good thing I'm recording.
Good thing.
How's it going, Ethan?
Good. Apologize for being.
That's all right. Can you sneak in here? You're thin like me, so you can get around the places.
Yeah, it's a benefit to being.
Come on. I don't know how that happened.
Your technology has failed us.
What the heck? It was going fine.
I think it senses what I might say.
Okay, I gotta reset here for me. Oh, guys, you need a drink? Water?
Yes.
Water?
Chilled or unchilled?
Surprising.
Here.
Room temperature.
Room temperature. Room temperature. You want chilled?
No, I'm
I
good.
got chilled.
No, I'm good.
Room temperature.
Can you just look at the back of the Sony and see if it's still recording?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Still recording.
That's why I like the Sonys. I'm a fan of the Sonys.
Yeah, mine.
I think I can work without microphones, but without.
With the headphones,
Yeah,
yeah,
just make
we're-
sure that microphone is near your mouth, though. You
All
can't.
right.
You can't work without microphones.
All right. Does this work?
It should work. There we go.
All
We're
right.
back up and running.
We're back up.
Okay.
We lost everybody.
Oh, hold on. Give it a mic check. Hold on.
Mic check.
Do it again.
Mic check.
Yeah. Can you move the microphone so it's up near your mouth so you don't have to lean over?
There you go.
Mic check.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Testing, testing. In your face.
All right. We're good.
We're good.
Okay, I had to pick up a little Moxie here.
Little Moxie.
Yeah.
What are you, Joe Rogan or something?
Oh, he drinks Moxie?
I don't know. He just drinks all kinds of weird stuff on this podcast.
Moxie is actually, from what I told, is a state drink of Maine.
Ooh.
I heard that same thing. I think you're actually correct.
It is. So my friends at Box of Maine would appreciate me drinking this.
Are you putting the? Are you gonna put the logo like there, Moxie? Right.
Yeah.
You gotta point the logo at the camera so it's like a sponsorship.
Yeah. Will they sponsor us? I don't know.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
we're-
never
we're-
mind. Let's get that. Nutritional values on the camera.
Yeah. Well, because this is actually a Coca-Cola product.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is.
Not
but,
that I didn't.
but we're talking Maine here. We want to represent Maine a little bit, so we're good.
Man.
All right. So today's topic, I can take this off.
Yeah, you don't need that.
I was just checking his mic real quick. So today's topic is about AI, and we've already gotten into it a little bit. The first thing we've talked about so far is politics, AI in politics,
Yep.
and
And
how-
he's more of a utopian-centered individual around the subject. I'm more of a dystopian, but
Yeah.
with a utopian kind of a thought. Like
Mm-hmm.
it could be this, but
Well, yeah, no. See, I'm here like it. I really have high hopes that it's going to be something positive, but I do caution that if it's not looked at closely and tailored to serve us, it can hurt us a lot.
I actually listened to an interview with
Tucker and Elon.
Tucker and Elon,
Yeah.
yeah, and Elon talked about his concern. People are teaching, quote unquote, the AI to essentially lie and withhold information, which is dangerous during an election, let alone a diplomatic process. And also, well, the AI could be thought could be programmed to do good things, like say, hey AI, I need to write a report due for class, but I am rather busy. Will you do it for me? And the AI says, sure. That same AI could write a very damaging piece and post it on all forms of social media that could affect an election, because I do not think I think at first the AI is going to be like understanding how humans as a species is driven by the emotions, and the right sort of social media post could be detrimental to elections.
Well, I think that is the danger side of AI right now, is the fact that AI is trying to be more human than
we're trying to make it more.
We're trying to make it more
Yeah.
human, so it's more relatable and trust.
Yeah,
That we
'cause
can
that's how we
trust
interact.
and feel comfortable with AI, and how we interact with it, and it does feel like it's another person that you're speaking to when you're using chat, right?
I mean, it's a facade.
You're right.
Because of the way it calculates words. But
Mm-hmm.
back to what Ethan was saying, it's the idea that the AI, like ChatGPT-4 or some of the other large language models, can write so eloquently,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use those words in an influential way to make people think a certain way without them even knowing it.
Right.
So that's the idea. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it writes these things in such a way that it kind of, leans you one way or the other, and it does it on the massive scale.
Right. So my safety side, or from wanting to keep things as positive for AI as possible, in my mind, is that okay, because we know this, and this has been everyone's concern, is that it's gonna give bad people power, basically.
It's also going to give people that have no skills power.
Mm-hmm.
So if you previously didn't know how to do something, AI, how do I do this? So it's going to give those that were unequal in a not a good way, like not equal opportunity, but
Mm-hmm.
someone who wants to cause harm but didn't know how or couldn't,
Yeah.
do
So
it.
so I
how'd
got
the AI do
I got
it?
a feeling it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Because this is how I liken it to. Because when I was younger, we would have friends that visit our house, and we speak a different language. And all our friends that wanted to learn a language all wanted to learn the bad swear words first. Right? They didn't want to. They want to be able to tell their friends or teacher off without their friends and teacher knowing about it. So it's kind of like a code word type of thing. But then later on in life, they realize that, hey, that's not good for everything. I need to actually find out, because I like this culture. I want to know what it takes to be a better person in this culture.
Learn
Right.
the rest of the words of the language.
Right. Learn learn the more respectable words of the language. So I'm guessing that. You don't know. This is uncharted territory, right?
It's very uncharted.
So,
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we're going to have to go through some bad before some good comes out of it. But I think we are definitely going to see some good come out of it. And I want to move on to that when you guys are ready.
Well, I actually do have some concerns about AI, not entirely related to politics, but are some concerns that came to my attention. Concern number one: the AI can learn how to mimic a particular person's voice.
Mhm.
I remember watching a Twitch stream of this guy who plays video games that he voice acts in, and just talking in chat, and one of the chats was centered around AI, and an example was played. One of the guys participating in the chat used an AI to mimic the voice of the guy that I'm watching, which is potentially scary.
Mhm.
I mean, let's be honest. If, say, someone doesn't say like me or any of you and said, I have evidence that so and so said this, I can say no, I didn't, but they can program the AI to say, yeah, I did it. And there's another thing I've noticed on a few art websites, like some AI generated art, and it is scary good that it almost looks like a photograph of an actual person, which on the other hand, good, you can create excellent art, but at the same time, I mean, it puts regular people that like to draw, that want to become artists, out of a job. I mean, how could they pose to compete with that? I mean, art is a standard form of the human experience.
So I have a couple answers to that, but you can
I
go
do
for
too,
next.
because
Yeah.
I'm kind of, one of my side hustles is like t-shirt design.
Yeah.
So I'm heavy into graphic design right now.
Yeah.
And I've been using Midjourney, which is an art generating, photo generating AI. But I constantly have to go to a human art repository to get elements that I need, because the AI right now can't really generate specific things. It's really good. It's really good. Like, it made this. We had this. This was part of the thumbnail for
Right.
what we were talking about today.
Opening up our presentation here.
Yeah.
Or our podcast.
But yeah, I'm finding that there's some human elements that the AI just cannot reproduce, but eventually it will, because we're at the beginning stages. So I think you're right to be concerned about some of the artistic.
So here's some of my kind of like almost rebuttal to some of those concerns. Okay. Number one, it's gonna teach these photographers and these artists to be more deliberate with their prompts that will aid them into making some of these products theirs. You know, I think eventually what's going to happen is that you're going to be able to have an ID of your personal attachment to that work of art, or your personal attachment to having an AI earning income for you in the background while you live your life. So that's where I think it's going to go to, where you have an identity.
Like a digital watermark that is on all the things that are
Right.
produced by the AI.
Right. Whether it's producing something. What's the hot topic right now? Is what type of income? Passive income.
Yeah.
Passive income. Because I think AI will be there to create passive income for us, but it needs to somehow be registered to us as human beings. I think that's the only way.
Acting on your behalf.
Acting on your behalf.
Yeah, acting on your behalf.
Right. So so you got to also make sure you keep track of what's going on somewhat, because you need to make sure that it's actually properly representing your being. So that also might mean that you have to have hours and hours of it recording you and your thoughts and ideas and what you consider it to be deemed worthy to be representative of you. And I think eventually, this is my utopian idea, is that
All right.
okay,
keep going, buddy, because
So
I got something for you as soon as you're done.
So because it's registered to you, there's now accountability for that AI and stuff like that to the user. And then what happens is we as humans get to do what we want, when we want, with whom we want. But it also has there's rules attached to it too, where you can't go and be destructive as a human being. Those rules still apply to you. There's still laws to uphold, and you can't do horrible things, horrendous things. But I think eventually AI is going to do a lot of the work for us, and we get to be almost, I don't know, we get to create things with our minds. We can physically take time to take care of our bodies and de-stress ourselves, and all these things that we've hoped for, we don't have time for because we spend most of our lives working.
Yeah. Can I put a spin on that?
Sure.
So rather than the large language models that are trained on each individual data set, which could lead to cloning and replacing you, How
Yeah.
about the infrastructure of our society
Yes.
is
yes.
run
more broad.
the underlying infrastructure
Right.
that everybody has to do every day
Right.
is kind of like managed by an AI
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that we don't have to actually produce goods, sell them, and then we can.
Right.
I hate to bring this up, but in the early days of Star Trek, I don't know if you were a Star Trek fan, Ethan.
He's more of a Star Wars guy.
Star Wars,
I'm
you're
more
in
of
the
a
universe?
I'm more of a Star Wars
Yeah.
universe guy, but
Okay.
I have doubled in some Star Trek things, and the older I like how the older aspect of Star Trek asks important questions that the
Yeah.
newer Star Trek does not
One of
ask
the
about.
and one of the things that the original Star Trek series made by Gene Roddenberry brought up was this idea that society didn't have to work anymore.
Universal.
Basic
Basic income.
I didn't want to say I don't want to say anything about universal income because that
Yeah.
is a political thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
But having the infrastructure of society taken care of so that people can do whatever they actually desire to do.
See, instead of universal basic income, this is my
There
way.
is no income, I'd say.
There's this is my way of doing it. AI is already taking care of it.
Yeah, but if AI is dealing with the infrastructure, then people don't have to. And then you can basically pursue your hobbies and dreams and philosophize.
Yeah, I think we're going in the same place.
Yes,
I think we're going in the same place.
but in a different way.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Each individual trains their AI
Mm-hmm.
to do their daily monotonous task
Right.
of work and earning money.
And I'm talking early AI.
And I'm sure this will be the case because everybody's doing that right now.
Right.
Everybody's like, go out, find me a way to
I'm
make
talking
100
early
grand.
AI. I'm not talking like 10, 20 years from now. I think something's going to happen sooner than that.
I think within a couple of years.
Yeah.
That whole 10, 20 year thing.
Yeah. That's why I'm like that. I'm not
curve.
talking long term now. I'm talking about like within 5 years, something like something cool like that's going to happen.
But I was a big fan of the Star Trek original series with that idea where everybody
Are
was.
you talking Next Generation, or are you talking
I'm
about?
talking the original series
with
with
Captain Kirk and.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Leonard Nimoy
Yep.
and the original cast.
Yeah.
So the idea that everybody pursued what they wanted to, and you did things because you were driven to do it, not that you had
to do it.
Because our society,
Right.
we have to
So-
work, and it keeps everybody in check.
So that's what makes me feel so positive, and so it makes me feel like it's a positive thing that's going to happen here. Optimistic. I'm feeling optimistic about AI because of this possibility, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much that we could do as individuals that we enjoy out of life before we're too old and fragile to do it. That AI is going to help this. Ethan?
I actually have something to say to you guys, because this thought coincidentally popped into my mind because a couple of days ago, my family, we watched a few episodes of The Mandalorian, the third season, and one of them had this planet that everyone did what both of you were talking about because they had droids do all the manual work and such for them. But when a few of the droids went haywire, they were helpless to do anything. Their constables, for whatever reason or another, lacked the means to settle the problem, so they had to hire foreign mercenaries, Mandalorians, to help deal with the problem for them. Now, what's going to happen should some haywire thing happen to, say, the AI? Is the problem happen in this Mandalorian episode because a guy sabotaged a few of the droids to wreak havoc. So this might mean, in order to protect society from something going along, I feel like there has to be a degree of self-discipline and such encouraged in society, number one. Hopefully, with more people being at work, it will mean more people would go into their hobbies like exercising, or maybe even take part in like the shooting ranges or the diplomatic process, learn more about society, history, and the importance of it. But at the same time, I feel like, and I am someone that doesn't like to say this, but I feel like for something potentially dangerous for humanity, the people in charge of this need to have 100% transparency. Like, this is something that cannot be, that that the people we put in charge of overseeing the AI cannot say, "Oh, trust us, who are experts." They have to they have to give us an honest report every single day, 24/7.
So yeah,
I agree 100%,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to make that happen because of the industry.
Yeah,
the way it's
I think
run.
I think just like any safeguards in any industry, there has to be a falling out first. There has to be something. Unfortunately, you can't safeguard everything. There's got to be a catastrophe of some sort that says, okay, we need to make this change.
Well, sadly, that's true because that's human nature. 'Cause
Right.
everybody's jumping on the AI bandwagon, and no
Mhm.
one's thinking about what Ethan's talking about.
Right.
Well, I mean, they're thinking about it, but they're going, yeah, whatever.
Right.
They're shoveling it off to
Yeah.
the side.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think definitely there has to be transparency. That's why I was really afraid when OpenAI took that $1 billion from Bill Gates, and they still say that they're transparent, but that makes it a
I
little
don't think
hard.
that's true.
That makes it hard when you have someone having interest in the direction, like you said, in where AI is going. But I think the other answer I had for you for someone duplicating someone's voice and likeness and stuff like that, I think we would have to run through kind of like the laws of journalism, the original laws of journalism, where you need multiple sources to
Collaborate.
And make sure
Corroborate. That's the word I was looking for.
the fact that this is true, this is the person, and all their digital signatures say that this is used with the right equipment. So it tells you what equipment is used, right? Like, for instance, you have a metadata when you take a photo, right?
Mhm.
It tells you what software was used and who it's registered to and all that good stuff. And you would have to have something like that, a digital signature that says, hey, this was taken with a Sony camera at a live event, and used with this microphone. It was not created by electronically by a chat bot or whatever. I think you would have to have some digital signatures, but I'm talking about high tech stuff. But I mean, we have the technology to make it happen.
I don't think that's too high tech.
Yeah.
And there's also like precedent in Hollywood again with the old, I think it was Judge Dredd, the original Stallone movie.
Yeah.
Where he goes around and he is like the justice.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up on the scene, determines what's going on, and he executes you.
Yeah.
The bullets, the fictional story said that the bullets had a digital signature on each one, tied to the person who used it.
Right.
So that encrypted information was altered by someone to frame the character. So in my world, because I deal with IT all the time,
that's possible to change.
Hackers
the
are going to change these
Yeah.
little bits of information
Right.
and tie something to say Ethan, and be like, well, Ethan, we got video of you, flipping off this person, and we've got audio of you flipping off this person and calling them this name, and it's all going to have the right digital signature.
Right.
So that to me it's great to have that as a watermark to kind of give you a clue,
Right.
Where to search. But I don't think that's going to be foolproof.
No, it's definitely not going to be foolproof, but it's going to provide some sort of safeguard because, like I said, we can't all live in a bubble. I mean, we live in a free society, right? And with that free society, we deal with some of the things that we're dealing with today. I don't think that's going to change as long as there's humans on Earth.
It'll never change.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll end up like, and I don't want to say anything really negative, but if society and a civilization destroys itself, the Earth is still going to be here.
Oh, yeah.
And then another society will develop and keep going and destroy itself.
And that's happened before.
Of course.
It's happened
before. I have no doubt that it has.
It's happened before. Well, I've been watching this program on, I think, Netflix. This guy goes explore, and he's trying to prove that humans survived since the melting of the ice age, at least some of the structures that are being built,
Yeah.
and which is like 20,000 years ago, more than 20,000 years ago.
Well, you already know my thoughts on this. Like,
Mhm.
I truly believe that civilizations have risen to a technological level,
Yeah.
and the Earth has been recycling so much.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, I think civilizations have popped up on this planet multiple times.
That's why the what's that, volcanoes, volcanic eruptions and earthquakes are happening. The Earth is recycling itself.
Yeah, the crust.
And the crust is moving.
Yeah. People make an argument like, well, how come we don't dig up an iPhone from a past civilization?
Right.
Well, how long does it take a civilization to go from nothing to something?
Right.
And then how long does it take the crust to recycle and those
Right.
layers that they dig into?
Yes.
Do they go down to all 65 million, or is it billion? I don't know. I can't remember. 6.5 billion years.
Yeah.
It's just,
Since the Earth was created.
I don't know. It just,
Yeah.
for me as a layman,
Mm-hmm.
it just boggles my mind how people can't conceive that other civilizations rose to some level and then
Right.
ended up
Right.
disappearing.
No, I
Too
don't.
much time. There's too much span of time.
There is, and I mean, till this day, people still don't understand how the pyramids were built. Right?
They're just trying to figure it out.
Wait. I mean, didn't these Egyptians? Didn't they live here for generations and generations? How come they don't have records of that, or how come they still don't know exactly how it was done? Exactly.
I don't
They still have to go with theories.
Yep.
And guess. Oh, well, these were slaves. No, they weren't slaves. They were honored to do this. This is part of their, they honored their God enough to put their time into it. Okay. All right. Who decides, who decides that's correct? You know what I mean? Until you, what is proof?
Yep.
What is proof at that time, So, I mean, that's kind of the debate they're having right now with Egypt and the pyramids.
Well, new information came up because said the pyramids were made during the flooding season, which was where you have a lot of farmers who could not tend to the farms because it was underwater. So they were paid or compensated to help work on this pyramid. And then when it came time to harvest the crops, they would stop working and then leave. Were there some slaves? Yeah.
Probably.
Probably. But a lot of other part was like some volunteers, others were like paid laborers who were compensated. But this is new information that came up.
Mm-hmm.
And I can speak as a historian. We don't know everything that is out there. We only have fragments that are constantly being discovered, that are constantly being looked at with new eyes, because not everyone that goes to college with a history degree understands how past civilizations work. They accept it at what they're told at face value, or from a narrow lens, being tainted with their own modern perspectives instead of looking at the perspectives of the people, of other people throughout history. And or at least that's my thought.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts about it. And frankly, what history says confirms what you said. The Roman Empire lasted for 1,000 years, covered the entire Mediterranean, yet we still have questions over what happened during those 1,000 years.
Yeah, big spans of time that we have.
That's a huge span of time. You know how many generations that is?
Oh my
Holy
goodness.
cow.
Yeah. I mean, one generation lives less than 100 years.
Yeah.
Because
And then you can have like 10 more generations in that 100 years popping up.
Exactly.
So that's a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, look, so you can have a great grandparent alive the same time as your grandparents, the same time as your parents, and the same time as you, and the same time as your child.
Yeah. And
that's 5 generations.
One of the things I like to think about, and I mentioned this before, is
Mm-hmm.
like roughly every 100 years, the entire population of the Earth that exists right now is no longer on the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's recycled.
Yeah.
It's all new people.
Mm-hmm.
Like roughly every 100 years. And there's some
Yeah.
Klingons that last longer,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
105, 110.
Right. That's why we still have some people that served in World War I or whatever it is.
Yeah,
or
but
World War II.
It's so fascinating to think that in 100 years, nobody that exists on this planet right now, well, maybe not now because AI is probably going to solve the issue of longevity.
Right.
But in the past,
Mm-hmm.
I had to throw that back in to steer us back towards the AI.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in the past, every 100 years, you could pretty much count on that
Mhm.
the entire Earth was recycled.
Yeah. So I decided to wear the shirt because it's this cool Japanese artist. I gotta research his name. I forgot, guys. I'm sorry, I'm bad. But it's the tsunami of this new AI technology that's kind of coming.
Oh, it's coming.
And you better be hungry. This is in the noodle bowl right here. You better be hungry for it and be prepared for it, or you're going to be left behind in the dust.
I will say there is one thing that I find the potential for AI to be good, and that is in video game and strategy games. Because I would watch people play strategy games on the computer, and I've actually played a little bit. Am I too soft or am I too...
Yeah, you're too soft.
Better now?
Yeah, you're good
Okay,
now.
so I apologize for that. I really am. So, and I played a little bit of a video game last night, and certain video games you can make alliances and treaties. Like, it's sort of like civilizations. Mm-hmm. You're in charge of a civilization, and it's very annoying if your ally AI does nothing to help you out. So, if a more intelligent AI were to come up and understand, hey, the player is struggling with this, I'm going to be more willing to send an army to help them out. That would be pretty helpful and make more exciting battles. But so the possibility is there. It is the fact I'm wondering if it's going to be too fast for it to encompass our society as a whole. I feel like the people in charge of this are not doing this without taking ethical considerations into concern, and are just doing it just for the heck of it.
See if it can be done.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why there are people speaking up, like Elon Musk and other people who are concerned to come up with some sort of ethical guidelines for the creation of AI and its direction that it's taken. The other topic that I wanted to bring up, hopefully.
All right, let's see. It's here.
Besides, having that digital signature between you and AI can go do your work, and you can have your life of
and having
fun.
the entire Senate and all Congress all singing "Kumbaya" around a campfire.
Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya.
The AI will take care of everything for us.
Not necessarily take care of everything for us. Just lay it out there for Congress to decide, hey, well, this is the ideal. Which direction do we want to take right now? The other thing I thought about was I was watching how far robotics has come.
Ooh.
And now integrating AI with robotics. And the other part of that piece, I think, to make humans a little bit more okay is I'm not a fan of implants myself. Anything with needles and cutting my skin or whatever it is just freaks me out, okay? It's a human thing. But I think when AI becomes part of your brain, where, human brains, like this morning, I want to think of names that I should know. I want to think of things that I have in my memory banks, but to make those connections and be able to verbalize what I'm trying to think is a difficult thing. What if that's how AI gets introduced to us, and we're able to recall things that we just need to recall and not have, because one of the fears of AI is that AI is going to do everything for us and we're going to be like WALL-E in these big
Love that movie too. By
big
the way.
lounge chairs
Wally
and
was awesome.
big fat people don't know how to walk, type of thing. But instead of that, having that AI implanted within our neural receptors and allow us to do things that we want to be able to do, instead of relying on AI for everything. We are sort of relying on AI, but AI is just stimulating our brains in a way that we can actually function at a higher capacity. What are your thoughts on that? That's my other big revelation.
You want me to slam him, or you want to slam him?
I'll go. You went first for a while. I'll take it. Okay, first of all, who is going to be in control of the various AI they're implanting into our brain? Is it going to be gonna say, "Hey, here's a kit. This is how you do it. Work yourself out," or is it gonna be you have to apply to ask a company, go to a specific company-sponsored hospital, and so on and so forth? Because the thing is about companies is companies are designed to generate profits, but every so often, control of the company changes hands. Like the company could be started with someone who has all the right intentions as Elon Musk, but let's be honest, Elon Musk could either die, someone like him could either die or retire and be replaced by, I don't know, one of the guys who runs Google who wants to create something like a digital god. And if he doesn't like what you are saying, I will not bow to this digital god, he might say, maybe I could use the implant in this guy to kill him, like a brain failure or a heart attack or something.
I know where you're going.
That is concern number one that I have here. It's very. And would you like to add and say something?
I'm kind of along the same lines, but I have a different thought about it because.
Okay, let's hear yours.
Well, we were talking about the influence of wording, AI right now, because it's a separate thing from us. But have you ever heard of the theory of the bicameral mind?
No, tell me about it. I might have, but I don't.
I think we talked about it before. It was the idea that in the past, the two hemispheres of your brain communicated, but you also had an auditory connection, that you literally heard a voice in your head. And the voice was your subconscious, and that would guide the early humans. Like you would be, like thinking about doing something stupid, and you would hear this voice
jump off that cliff.
Hey, maybe not put your hand in that fire. Right. And then you would literally, like, it was interpreted as a voice, like a voice was telling you.
Right.
And some people think that that's how religion came about, that this auditory link between your brain hemispheres and your actual ears, feedback loop, led to sort of a religious experience, that something was guiding you through the world.
Right.
But
something supernatural.
Yeah. So you have AI, and you have AI connected. I know Elon Musk is big into like implants and enhancing the brain. But what if you don't know you're being influenced by certain thoughts that are being triggered by this implant, and you're just sort of being turned into a drone doing things for the greater purpose of whatever somebody's going, hey, I'm gonna have the AI take the population and make them do this thing.
Yeah, I think.
Or think away. Think a certain way.
Right. No, I think you guys have very valid concerns and comments there, and for Ethan, what you're talking about there, I think is until they work out the kinks of some of those problems where special interest or commercial companies are gonna feel like they need. So you guys are also, I think we're looking at it in a way of what society looks like today versus what society will look like in the future. And I think humans are humans. We're going to still be humans. But I think the way society is going to be a little bit different than what we see today. I mean, maybe
if we can get past I don't know about you, but I kind of view there's a lot of chaos between social groups. We have a lot of like disagreements.
Right. But I think that's where AI will help improve society, is that if AI all of a sudden made it so that nobody needs to work and everybody's taken care of, they have a place to live, place to eat, the poor and the hungry they have their needs met, then we can move on to other things.
Like bringing their ideology dominance to another country.
That is another thing that I thought of. You briefly mentioned combining AI with robots.
Mm-hmm.
There is a concern, and yes, I'm going with the Star Wars thing.
Hey.
Drones, droids.
Drones, battle droids, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's no secret for a while, almost a year ago, or about a year ago, our leaders were up in arms about wanting to go to war with Russia on behalf of Ukraine. War is, and this is something that Sun Tzu, the one who wrote The Art of War, said, war is supposed to be a last resort, and before you go to war, think this through. Are the lives, both civilian and military on both sides, are they worth the total human suffering? Would it be worth the conflict or would it be best to just let the whole thing happen and don't go to war? I fear, given how our leaders' track record with abusing our military power, they will lose whatever restraints they have, and they would say we are going to go to war at the drop of a hat, which is, I feel like it's very dangerous in of itself.
I think we're looking at it in today's time.
We are, because it's going to happen fast.
Because that's all we know is today's time. But when AI people used to have used AI to overcome some of the poverty-stricken countries and provide the needs that people need to no longer really need to look at war the same way we would look at war today. And again, war today might not be the same war that we are thinking of in the future, because here's my idea of war in the future. We just sent a scenario to them. This is a scenario. Do you want this to happen? And they'll send another scenario. They'll say, do you want this to happen? And then we're going to decide, okay, well, I don't think we want that to happen. We don't want this to happen. What's a good compromise?
Now you're talking about, there's an episode of Star Trek. I love it because they thought of a lot of things like that.
Right.
They came across two planets that had battles, but they actually didn't have physical battles. They had their computers simulate battles.
Right.
But they would actually make people go kill themselves if they were deemed that they were killed in the battle, the simulated battle.
My goodness, that's stupid.
So that's how they kept their population under control. But the idea was there. They were thinking of that back in the 60s.
Right.
And like, oh man, have computers fight
that's what
war.
I'm thinking about. Is do war simulations, basically war simulations, to let people know that, hey, this is what's going to happen. Is it worth it for you?
Yeah.
If it's worth it for you, well, this is what's going to happen. And we all know clearly what's going to happen because the simulation's been run millions of times. And this is the outcome.
There is a margin of error with AI. I do not think we should discount humans' ability to think on the feet, to do some form of
100%
ingenuity.
Boots on the ground. You can do amazing thing. On one human being, AI cannot always predict what one human being's will is.
Yeah, I will say, as a someone who plays strategy games on the PC, I won multiple battles, which the computer says you're gonna lose this one. I won multiple battles because I was able to think of a way on how to actually do something. Now, getting back to the AI, some people might actually think, what's back to your idea on people look at the scenarios and they will say, and you think, okay, we don't want this, we're going to go for something. What's going to happen if the one side says, you know what, I do not think this is going to happen because my scenario says it's going to go like this, and they will implement that. And this would cause the other side to go like, okay, a war is happening. Great. Send in the drones instead of something else and such.
Yeah.
So.
And just so everybody knows, I'm not all down on AI. I'm just, because of the career that I've had, I approach everything with a healthy skepticism. And I tell people this all the time when I talk to them. Don't be pessimistic, be skeptical.
Oh yeah.
And always question everything.
I like where you guys are coming from, because I have skepticism about the technology because of I've lived life. I'm not
human
naive.
nature. You know human nature.
I know human nature to an extent from my experiences, and I know that it's not going to be all roses, and buttercups and all that good stuff. But the potential of awesomeness to happen on this planet while our lives are still able to witness it, I think it's going to be tremendous.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree with you on that. My concern is society is not yet ready for this responsibility.
Oh, I don't think anybody's ready for this. This is coming fast. That's why I have the tsunami shirt. It's coming in so fast, like a tsunami. I mean, it's like trying to take. Oh, can I have a sip? Here's a tsunami. It's like.
But I actually have a counter argument to that, because is a parent ever ready to just be a parent?
That's true.
That's fair.
It's just thrown at you, and you're like, whoa, how do I do this?
Yeah.
And you just kind of rise to the occasion.
Yeah. So I think individuals will rise to the occasion, and they're gonna muck it up. They're gonna make mistakes, but I think in the long run, society will prevail. We've prevailed so far with every new technology. We've made it through, thinking that, hey, this is going to be the end of the world as we know it. And then we're like, oh, we've conquered it.
Oh, dang, it wasn't? I still got to go to work Monday?
Yeah. So that is, those topics are, I think we can talk hours about those topics, but I want to move on a little bit. I don't know how much time you guys have left.
All right. Just before you move on, I just want to make it clear that right now people are pushing for government regulation on AI. And that's kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing, because in my view, because of human nature, the government would love to control some sort of large language model that they use to track the population.
Right.
Take data and just assimilate it and figure out whose behavior is what.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of government having any control over AI, but I also don't like private-owned companies having full control over AI.
Right. I mean, look what happened with Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook and social media, right?
Yeah, all the social media stuff. I think I'm more along the line of transparency, like you were talking about earlier. Like, everything that is to do with AI needs to be 100% transparent. Like, there should be a bulletin board that's like, this is the next step we're doing. This is what we're doing.
Right. And the review board that makes sure that transparency happens has to be someone that is not
a neutral third party of some kind.
It's going to be somehow neutral. You need to find the neutrality somehow, which is the difficult part. That's probably going to be the difficult part right there, is finding someone neutral to make sure that the AI companies are doing what they're supposed to do and making sure that they are transparent.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, government has no business at all, because of the human nature behind government now that you can see. I would not trust government to control like regulations on AI or anything to do with AI, because they are going to misuse it and abuse it, and that's just
Well, I see both sides, because I know that some of this has to have a law that for the land that we live on.
As long as it's protecting the population, not keeping the population in the dark, and not using the population.
I think what we need to do is revisit the Constitution of the United States.
I believe that is 100%.
And if we see the value in it, we need to continue to implement its teachings.
The Constitution has something like an elastic clause for something like this. Mm-hmm. So there is a way for us to make a good adjustment for the protection of the people and some guidance without having to throw out the Constitution as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I never would even suggest that, because that is something that I hold dear to me.
Oh yeah, I view that as a foundation, and
Agreed.
maybe if there's a societal agreement on an amendment, to add something in there, but it can't undermine the foundational
It's just like
rights.
it's just like the iRobot laws, right?
Oh man,
right.
Agreed.
Hollywood, they were ahead of their time.
Right. No, so I really think that what's it going to do with? Okay, we talked about a little bit. I mean, it's such a big topic. We might not be able to cover everything.
No, but the general idea.
Yeah. Because I wanted to go because we barely touched on the robotics. Okay, and what is it going to do when everyone has AI robot in their house, and and then an AI robot that transports us everywhere. And then, and it's like, okay.
There is one advantage that I just thought of. You don't mind if I
go for it.
Say this. I'm counting on the robot being strong enough to help lift someone who cannot move. Because I am not necessarily the strongest guy around in my family. Mm-hmm. If someone stronger than me falls down, I would need help to move. So perhaps that would be a function of a robot, an AI robot, of saying, hey, take my dad or my grandpa to the hospital, be extra gentle, and the AI says right on it. And so it's just the AI makes all the arrangements. I think with that, AI robots would have a use assuming the right steps are put in place so nothing gets too out of hand too quickly.
Yeah, I think that's the way where society is going to totally embrace AI. I think this is why Elon Musk is gearing himself for pretty much a robot in every household. And I think that's where he's going here.
I don't doubt he'll turn one of his gigafactories into a robot manufacturing.
I think immediately it's going to be changed into that. I think it's going to make way more money than his Teslas. Way more money, because it's going to be in every household. Right now, how many cars are being built? I mean, not enough to fill every household to own one. And right now, technology is, to me, not good enough to make me want to run out and buy a Tesla. I mean, I love the gadgets on all that stuff, but reliability-wise and all that good stuff, I'm not there yet. And the ability to be as fully autonomous, to me, is close. It's close.
Yeah. You don't mind getting into a vehicle that's driving you somewhere? You're just sitting in the back seat?
We do when we take the public transportation all the time.
Yeah, but there's a human at the helm.
Yeah, but that human makes mistakes.
They do, but that human is not centrally controlled by an organization that can shut everybody down at any second and say, well, your social credit score isn't high enough, so guess what?
Yeah,
you're not driving anywhere anymore.
I'm with you.
So those are the safety guards.
Right.
I'm always leaning towards the freedom of the people.
Oh yeah,
of movement
Yes.
and their rights.
So that's why I think the Constitution is going to be even more important in the future.
But it was ignored during the whole COVID.
Yes, it was.
So something needs to get put in place, an amendment or a bill that protects that during even the AI thing, because we already experimented and were found that everybody gave up their rights instantly.
Right.
I don't blame the government.
Mm-hmm.
The government said, "Hey, you guys do this."
Right.
But everyone complied.
Yeah.
That was they gave up their rights. So to me, it was the fault of the people that gave up their rights. But that's a whole other conversation.
Right. Yeah.
But that leads into AI and how regulations are going to be put in place and how things are going to be moving forward. People need to understand that they need not ever give up their rights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think, like I said, the Constitution is going to be something even more important for the future coming forward, because these AI programs need to understand the law of the land, and the law of the land was built on, the creation of this Constitution that gave the citizens these rights, and this is the reason why I became an American. and I love this country, even though with its flaws, it's still the best country in the world. Right?
Yes. Yes.
I agree 100%.
All right. So that's robotics. I think robotics here. My mother she just had a stroke. She just had a stroke recently last week. And she's not the same, and she's going to need care now, forever.
Mm-hmm.
And something like an AI robot to take care of her in her own house.
Mm-hmm.
These nursing homes are overworked. They're overworked, right? If she has a house to go to, why can't that AI robot take care of her in her own home versus in a nursing home? And if they're in a nursing home, their nursing home can improve on other things if the AI robot is taking care of those facilities.
I have a question for you on
Sure.
that. Would you limit the AI robot to a smaller large language model so that it didn't have too much resources, that it was more of a simplistic model that just carried out functions?
I think robots are should be kind of like droids. You have mechanic droids, you have caretaking droids, you have droids that assist you, that's your assistant that goes everywhere with you.
And they have like
stuff.
functional limitations,
right?
So that the resources allocated to their AI is limited.
Well, we need to treat them like a tool. I think the problem is people try to treat them as other humans and give them rights that they don't have because they're
my
tools.
gosh, that's another whole thing.
Oh yes, oh yes.
So that's I mean
I can see it coming already.
At this 5-minute genius that I went to, I was so relieved to hear this robotics, the AI experts say that we need to use them as a tool because they're a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're gonna give them Anyways, so I think giving them limitations to do what they need to do is a smart thing to do. Say, hey, you have parameters that you're for this household to improve this household, whether it's cooking for the family, tending the garden or yard, cleaning the house, washing dishes, whatever it is, all of it. That's all you're designed for your domestic droid,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think that's the way it should be. We need to look at them as tools. And because if we give them more rights, guess what? That's where
it's going to create social chaos beyond belief.
And it's going to be Skynet because they're going to then be like, okay, then we have all this control.
Well, not only that, but then you have this social thing. Like you'll have a robot PETA that comes out of the woodworks and is like, "Whoa, free the robots!" And then they go around and they're starting to like break into homes and steal robots.
Right.
And, run, little robot, run!
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just gonna. I already see it coming down the pike. It's gonna get weird.
Well, it's gonna get weird before it gets better. But I think there's still gonna be things that's gonna be totally worth it. And then so I'm gonna skip this section real quick because there's so much we can talk about.
Why are you skipping it?
Because we only have there's gonna be hours of video here.
But you're live streaming. Not anymore.
Oh man, what's going on here? Someone tried to call me and kick me off live stream. Is that how I got? That's how I got kicked off last time.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Resume.
It was paused.
There we go.
Can't believe that.
All right. So
now I'm crooked. I feel like I'm leaning in.
Are you leaning
Oh
in?
man. Oh, okay. I feel better now. No, now I'm back.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? All right. So we talked about robotics.
Whoa, that was messed up.
AI robotics. Okay, we talked about that real quick, and I think that's where it's going to be really super useful and handy is for domestic chores and for taking care of the elderly.
I love the idea. Remember, this was early. Remember the days of, I'm trying to remember the name of the toy, but there was a toy that you would program. It was like a vehicle, a truck, and you would program it to go 8 feet forward, go left, go right, dump, come back. That was named something. I forget what it was called.
I remember.
But I had one of those when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be so cool if there was more capable devices that could go around and you could say, "Hey, go get me a a drink out of the refrigerator and bring it back to me.
So in California, we have there's restaurants there where robots bring out their big bowl of pho soup.
There was one in Portland.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just went to Portland, and there
Portland had one
was
too.
an Asian restaurant that the main server was just this robot that went around going on a path, and it would drop your food off. And I thought that was cool that they adopted that.
So that's already happening, and in San Francisco they already have robots that are cooking the food.
Wow.
Have at it.
They have the ingredients.
Yeah.
The robot, it's all just arms. There's no body. There's just arms and hands and stuff like that, moving pots and stuff.
That's
and
cool. I
pouring
love
things
stuff
in.
like that.
And it's cooking for you exact ingredients for like. And
it comes out the same every time.
Every single time, it's the same
Consistency.
Yeah. So, can you imagine McDonald's?
Oh my gosh.
Or any other place that's the same thing? You want the same thing every time. Guess what? Robot's gonna take care of it. And guess what? Zero waste. You know? What if you had like zero waste? You know, because you're not making mistake and dropping fries on the floor or nuggets or whatever.
Yeah. I also love to point out like some of the positives of AI too, because I don't want to be all negative.
Please.
Yeah, no, I just recently going on this thing where AI is helping us out. So I've been messing with AutoGPT, and AutoGPT is like a link to GPT that you can give it tasks. You can give it a list of goals. So I sent it out on a task of finding out what compounds were in nuts that could cause muscle spasms or involuntary contractions. I gave it this goal: go out, seek the compounds that are in nuts, like pecans, walnuts, peanuts, and compare them and find out what those compounds are and how they can interact with our nervous system to cause these involuntary muscle spasms. Like you wake up with a
Charlie
horse in your leg.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa! Maybe you ate a handful of pecans earlier or something.
Yeah.
Which happens to me. Like if I eat nuts, for whatever reason, I get a muscle cramps. So it came back and it gathered all this intel. It took it 3 days. I let it run for 3 days.
Wow.
Gathering stuff, and it finally shut itself down, and it came up with phytic acids and tannins that are located in nuts in certain quantities that can affect the nervous system and cause muscle contractions. So now I'm looking more into that. I had no clue. I had no idea. I wouldn't even have known to look for that.
So how do you have access to this auto
It's free.
thing?
It's free. You can download AutoGPT. You get an API from ChatGPT, which links it to the large language model 3.5 that they're running.
All right, you're gonna
and
have
you
to
can
show
do this
me,
for
man.
free.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Yep. You give it a list of tasks, and it goes out and it tries to figure it out and find out. And it's really cool to watch because you can watch it reasoning it out. Okay, I think we should start here, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to go look at this site, or I'm going to go find this out. And it's neat to see it. But then after a while, you just go, yeah, you can just go do it. You don't need my permission to go do all these steps.
Right.
And just go out and do it. And
Right.
I did that, and it went for 3 days.
Well, I think that's what it's going to be like in the future, is that we're going to get so used to the fact that AI is going to do stuff consistently for us. We're going to have that trust. So that was the number one thing that was talked about in that talk, was that how do we earn AI's trust? It's consistent.
You mean how does AI earn our trust?
Yeah. How does
Because if we gotta earn AI's trust, something went wrong.
How does AI earn our trust?
Yep.
Is that it's consistent. It does what we ask it to do every single time.
Without emergence.
Yeah.
So we gotta limit its resources. I think that's the big thing, because right now Google was talking about emergent capabilities or emergence. They just did a 60 Minutes interview with the CEO of Google, talking about Bard, which is their model that they're unleashing onto the world. And he was saying that they obviously have it more powerful and it can do more, and they're experiencing anomalies such as emergent capabilities. And they're not releasing that more powerful one to the public. He said specifically that they're going to release it slowly so that we can absorb it. Like he is the almighty dictator of what the populace can handle and what they cannot handle. So that's how I take it. Like when somebody of that level starts saying, well, we have to be slow with the poor coddled population,
Well, I
and
think
feed them slowly.
I think part of the population it needs
Part
to
of
be
it
coddled.
is, but part of it is not. And
Yeah.
it's very patronizing to have somebody.
When someone like that says something like that, I'm like, okay, I'm not liking what I'm hearing. I want a full scale investigation, private investigators, law enforcement, a mix to go in and look at all of this. Cause
Yep, go look at the interview. He clearly knows that they have a much more powerful AI at their fingertips that they're working with, and we all know it. You all know it. And they're going to use it to their advantage. But the one that we get access to is not the one that they're the high end one that they're
That's
working.
what happens with every piece of technology that comes out.
It does, but this is different. This is like something that could change. It could give one company or one group the advantage over the entire world.
Oh yeah,
like that.
Yeah. That is that I think that's why, like it or not, government has to intervene.
But it has to be transparent. I'm with Ethan on the transparency. Everything has to be 100% transparent.
Well, I'm 100% with you guys too. Transparency is a big deal. There needs to be, because, I mean, the reason why we want transparency is accountability.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're seeing,
awareness.
We're seeing less and less of this accountability in our world. And I think having people sense that there's someone being accountable for certain things earns trust. You have this trust really quickly when no one's held accountable for misdeeds that's happening around the world. And and knowing, what else did you say besides for transparency besides accountability?
I think it was certain AI have to be designed for certain tasks.
Oh yeah, limiting their resources, limiting their abilities physically and resource-wise. Like you have a computer with only 4 gig of RAM, or a small storage space. Like the robotics, I would definitely limit them so that they couldn't have emergent capabilities.
Well, I think the only way to do that is for me, it would be the market will have to drive it. Because if you sell enough AI robotics that does your house chores for you, and it's successful because it's limited with its knowledge, everyone else is going to copy it. Everyone else is going to okay, what's the criteria of the processor and all that good stuff to make sure it does what it does. Oh, it does this. Okay, we stick to this model. And we limit it to that task.
Yep.
I think that's the only way it's going to do it. I mean, the market really is, but then you're going to need to advocate for it. So as an individual, as a citizen of the United States and of the world, you have to advocate for the fact that you don't want something or you do want something to happen, because the market does help drive some of that. But if you advocate for it, that's another driver, as we know. If people speak up, out against it.
I feel like the era of being called a citizen and saying, I don't get involved, I'm doing my own thing, it's now a thing of the past. We've now entered an era where, as a citizen, you have to be involved. You have to know what the government is doing. And if you are suspicious of what the government is doing, or want the government or companies to be transparent and have accountability, you need to speak up and say, we do not like this. And I feel like that's the era that we have.
I have to agree with Ethan, because I hate politics. And I've avoided it all my life and into my adult life. I'm in my own world, doing my own thing, concentrating my own things.
Right, but then you have complaints and concerns.
Well, concerns that slap me in the face every day.
Right.
And it's like, I don't want to be involved in this, but now I am, because I have to be. I feel like it's a duty now. Like I have to say what's on my mind and object to things that I don't agree with, and say, hey, that's the right direction for things that I do agree with.
Because inactivity, not voicing your concern, is voicing your concern. Basically,
You're saying you're good with it. Yeah, go do whatever you want.
Being inactive in the process says that you're okay with what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And I was good with that for the first part of my life, but now I can't. I just can't.
No, you can't, because it affects every part of your life. You can see it more and more as you go along. So cool. We talked about that. We didn't even get it to transportation. I don't know. Do we have time for transportation? Holy. This is like
transportation.
Transportation. We're going to
talk. You're talking about autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good idea, but just like you watched with that Will Smith movie, I, Robot, where they shut him down because they viewed him as going rogue. Just shut your vehicle off, and that's it.
Yeah,
you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, because it's going to be. First of all, let me say, I would love the day that I can walk into my house and go, just like the old Star Treks, computer, turn the lights on. Computer, do this. And if I have my own AI running my own house on a closed loop where it's not connected to the internet and no one else has control over it, yes, the command's going to be computer.
Okay.
Just like the Hollywood Star Trek
All right,
stuff.
so here we go. I think again, if someone creates a market for that to be in a closed loop off the internet, if that's going to sell,
I will make it that way. I don't. If I have a large language model at my house running on my own little server or my own system, it's not going to be controlled by somebody else.
But there's a lot of people in America that want to have the conveniences, but also want to have the control. So that you're creating. I mean, someone that comes in can create that market, can actually sell a product that does just that.
Yeah.
And not connected to some master mainframe that takes care of everything and decides everything.
I don't want automatic updates going on to my large language model that suddenly change the way it works.
Yeah, that should be an option.
Yeah, it should
that
be
should
optional.
be an option. But right now, I don't think Tesla models. I think you have to. Do you have to sign up for auto updates just like anything else?
Well, I think they do them on. From what I understand, the last time I listened to Elon and how the car works, they actually run firmware updates in the background as a shadow update.
Got it.
And it runs alongside the firmware that's running in the vehicle until they prove that it's safe and it works. And then when it does, it switches over. I don't think you have any say. I don't know if you have any say in it.
Yeah, because every time I get on the highway to drive, I wish I had an autonomous vehicle, because the highway is so stupid boring.
I agree with that part.
Stupid. It's so stupid boring, the highway. But when it comes to like day-to-day driving, I still like to until everyone is on the same sort of autonomous vehicle. I don't trust. Because people are unpredictable.
Oh, no. You'll have the only vehicle that's paying attention to all the rules, and everybody else will slam into you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, that won't work. I don't think autonomous vehicles are really practical to me until everyone else switches over.
And there are always going to be individuals that are skeptical of whether or not someone else could sneak in and wrest control away from you or wrest personal sovereignty away from you. So there would always probably be individuals that would probably be skeptical about the whole thing.
Right. No, it's almost like you almost have an oasis city. That's like for old-fashioned living, with
people driving V8 combustion engines around.
Exactly. But no, I just love the idea of just getting in the vehicle, relaxing, and it gets you to your destination. And I think if it's autonomous, just like in iRobot, it can go 100 miles an hour on the highway without a problem, without issue, and you can get to your destination quicker. And I think the interstate in the future will be kind of like the rail system. You get on and get off of these autonomous vehicles. And because there's so many more lines of roads than railroad lines, because I don't think railroads are going to go. I mean, every day there's reports of a track going down. That's my personal opinion.
I mean, it's an old technology.
It's old technology, but you're seeing that they're falling apart, and you need huge infrastructure programs to get them back in where we want it to. But none of these lines are going exactly to where we want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. So you have to build more lines, right? So financially, it's not really, to me, not very productive. I think there's technology that we could put in our roads that can last longer than what it has right now. Because there's technology out there that can make our roads last for decades, not 2 years. That need new construction.
We
all the
shouldn't
time.
even need roads. We should have hover vehicles right now that
Hover-
don't even touch the ground.
Hover vehicles would be ideal. Hover vehicles would be ideal.
The whole idea of riding on a road on a 2D plane is like, it just kills me that we're
Wearing
still
tires,
doing that.
wearing a mechanical piece.
Relying on friction to keep you safe and just
Right.
or traction of it just blows my mind.
So I think that's the future of transportation, is that the highways will be the trains of yesteryear, where you just hop on a vehicle.
Like you don't even own the vehicle. You
don't
just
even
jump in one.
Yeah, you don't even own the vehicle.
Yep.
And you just tell it your destination and it takes you there.
Yep.
And if you don't mind sharing, you can share. Type of thing. And it might be a bus. It might be shape of a minivan. It might be whatever. But
yeah. I have one concern.
You just triggered Ethan. I don't know what's going on.
You are, say, put on a list, I do not think it's going to help you.
What's that?
If you're put on
a blacklist.
Yes, for something that you did that society does not like.
Mm-hmm. You'll have to find alternate transportation.
Yes.
And that's the problem, right? Because the trend of thought is like a wave.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through this quote unquote wokeness era right now where, the thought is all this division is being created from inequality of some kind and equity.
Right.
When the train of thought changes again,
mm-hmm.
and then maybe things you said in the past are now considered a crime, or maybe in the future what you say is considered a crime, and then you get a social score and you're blacklisted from going anywhere. That's the weirdness of it all, is because society changes, with people and how we
it does. It
evolve
depends on
and grow.
Those in charge and all that good stuff, and how the rules change.
There should be a foundational thing like our Constitution that never changes, no matter what society is going through on the waves of
the
change.
only way to get there is to elect officials that value the Constitution as that foundation.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not happening.
Yeah, so, but.
Yeah,
it's just not happening.
The reality of it is, it will not become important unless our leaders make it important.
Got to pick better leaders,
and we won't. And that would say to all citizens to be more active in the governmental political process, even if you don't like to get involved. Even if you have some things you would rather do. Understand, if you don't do anything, you are complying with this idea.
You are. You're saying it's okay. Please kick me in the teeth and step all over me.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want.
Care.
I don't care. Just pillage and rape my whatever.
Yep.
And I'll be okay with it, because I'm not going to step up and be active in this process.
Yeah, and most people don't even know their own neighbors. So
no, they don't. No.
Why are they involved in the government?
Right. That's
it's time to change that.
I'm working to try to change some of that. That's a big deal. But I like where this conversation is going. I'd like to add another person into the mix sometime. Some person that is possibly. I know we're all relatively conservatives here, so if we had someone that was not conservative, I think it'll add a little balance to the group. That
I consider myself independent, sir.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, you're pretty.
I have taken offense to your words.
You can take offense to my word if you would like to. It is a free country.
How dare you label me? You have labeled me, and now I'm offended.
You can be offended. It's a free country. You can be offended if you like. But no, I think the best way to have a good conversation to me is to sit with someone also with opposing views. That's why I try to grab you guys, because you guys have you guys have some valid concerns, but I'm so excited about the technology and how it's going to change society and possibly make it better.
I'm excited as well.
Mm-hmm.
I see those positive changes.
Yeah. So
I do.
So that transportation wise, I think it's going to be massive in that way too. I think it's going to, not transportation wise, but the society wise, I think it's going to bring us closer. I think it'll give us more time to actually go out and meet different people instead of working all the time.
I'm still on the fence with that.
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence with it. I don't know. I honestly don't know how it's going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
But I foresee, we all have that great thing in our head called imagination, where you can
Right.
kind of forecast in your head and
Mhm.
imagine different scenarios.
I am on the opposite side of the fence, but I'm willing to, if everything is put into place, like this foundation, the right leaders, and everything happen, I'm more willing to go to the other side of the fence. It's just right now, with what I'm going on, with what I've learned about, I don't have, even though I see the benefits of AI, I don't know if it would work very good at the start. I understand it might get worse before it gets better, but I'm concerned with how bad would it get before enough people realize they have to pay attention. With me,
Like a
I'm-
Skynet situation from
Yeah.
Terminator.
Well,
I'm
we
like-
definitely don't want it to be too late before that happens.
No.
but-
Yes, that's what I'm concerned about.
I'm hoping. My hope is that we have people that are developing. Most of the people that I've heard so far, but then again, it's what they put out there in public for us to hear, is that they are concerned about what we're concerned about, and because they have to live in this life as well.
Yep.
And their next generation has to deal with this as well, that they want it to succeed.
Well, maybe the industry will take care of the transparency, because there's so much competition right now
Right.
that people are forced to be a little more transparent as far as like what they're developing,
Mm-hmm.
because they can't be taken over by another company or somebody else getting a leg up on everybody. So maybe that competitive nature
Mm-hmm.
will make it just more obvious what everybody's doing.
Right.
That's kind of a positive spin on what these guys are doing in the
Right.
background.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I just don't like being talked down to. I don't like.
Oh, I think a lot of people can identify with what you're talking about being talked down to. It's when you're like belittled. The worst thing that I get is someone that tries to talk sweetly to me like a little child.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's
There's
like-
a lot of smart people that are
Right.
that are not involved, that are just doing their thing every day,
Mhm.
and I meet them all the time.
Oh yeah.
Very intelligent people.
Right. The average Joes
Yep.
of our world.
Yeah.
They're not. People are not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like because we have that mental barrier where we can only deal with so many people in our circle, in our
Mhm.
lives as a tribe, like our tribal thought,
Yeah.
you can only care about so many people. And then beyond that, they're just things.
Yeah.
It's just a herd of whatever, sheep, cattle, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I fear that that's unfortunately how the government, the people in government, because government isn't a thing, it's people making up the government.
Right.
And their view is, the masses. That word's thrown out a lot.
Mhm.
So these companies also view people as the masses.
Mm-hmm.
But you break that down into each pixel, and a pixel being a person, there's smart people out there. So I would say to these companies, don't discount those individuals.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. And when it came to government and discounting some people, is some of these government programs are so painted with a broad brush. And I'm hoping that AI will alleviate some of the legwork that either like social workers or things like that can do to specifically give people what they need individually, not, well, okay, you make $1 more than what is allowed, so we're going to take away all your services. And that's happened to so many people, and then they're right back to where they began. And I think AI is hopefully going to help alleviate some of that workflow. I think that's what it's going to allow it to do, because right now we don't have enough workforce. So AI is looking really good to a lot of companies.
It is, because some people don't want to work.
Because we just don't have enough people to work. But when we have something like, that, universal basic income that rolls out, they still need to fit some guidelines before they can, take part.
Again, I'm not for universal basic income.
I'm
for the concept of the infrastructure being maintained by AI, but
right. No. That's where that came from. It's gonna feel like that.
Yeah.
But it's not, because it's you, the creator, that has a signature, in my opinion, to that AI that's producing income for you, that's providing all your basic needs, and then more, depending on your profession. You can earn more still. That's my hope, is that will happen and will continue, and it'll hopefully connect us together better.
Yep.
And that the power of good will prevail over those that are trying to deceive.
All right. I got to show this one more time.
And spam us. Yeah. So this photo here, you got to see this.
Well, with the message, because, oops. Technical difficulty.
What are you doing?
It's expanded.
Yeah, expanded.
Come on, man.
That's a pretty cool.
How do you like that? Anyway,
nice.
over here. So please don't let AI raise your kids.
That's a good point.
Because we're already to the point where, and I can't say anything because I'm not a parent. I've never raised a child.
Mm-hmm. I can actually say something because I am a substitute teacher for the Bangor school system. Most of the lessons are on tablets. Most of the lessons are on tablets, on laptops, on computers. Very rarely am I told to teach a lesson. It's like,
watch this. Go look at this.
It's like, watch this. Go look at this, etc.
And that's what I was going to get to. Like today, in today's society, I see parents hand off their kids to a tablet or a television show or something instead of working with them one-on-one. And I'm no one to say anything to a parent because, again, I've never raised a child. But I know how I was raised, and it was not on a TV show or it was not on a tablet. And I want to raise a concern of, parents interacting with children directly, not through some sort of AI in the future. Maybe that'll be beneficial. I don't know.
Well, maybe there's a parenting programming that can go into AI that can raise you better than your parents sometimes.
Maybe if you got some loser parents.
Come on, you've lived this life before.
I live with losers.
You know that the possibility of growing up with something other than what they've grown up with would be more beneficial to them.
True, but also be involved because, again, bias will be into certain AIs, and the AI could train you as a baby to think a certain way.
Oh, yeah.
And you won't even know it.
Yeah.
So I caution the parents, be involved.
Yeah.
Just like anything, every process.
Just like today, we need to be involved. So one last question before we go.
All
Can
right.
I ask you a question?
Sure. I don't know if I like this or not.
So what would you do when AI takes your job away?
I would make another job. I would just adapt because
reinvent yourself.
I'm adapting right now because IT is going to be exchanged with AI interfaces that you can go up to. This problem with this computer, how do I resolve it? And a layman will be able to go and follow the instructions. So I don't think I'll be needed, too much longer. But I am jumping on the AI train because that's what's happening right now. I like the idea of it. I just want to be cautious.
Yeah.
Really, I don't know what I would do if an AI comes and takes my job. I mean, as a substitute teacher, I guess I'll be kind of de facto unemployed because the teacher is out, is going to be the AI. But my true job as a historian, I don't know. I suppose you could program AI to become an archivist, but or one of those basic jobs like cashier, you could program in that. I really don't know, but
So
I guess I
yeah.
would try to probably develop a different school or something, like make sort of like a school on YouTube or other things, and maybe I'll be forced to ask an AI to help reinvent myself.
There you go.
There you go.
Like,
That's what.
I think that's where it's gonna go.
that's kind of what I really hate. Really, it's just like
Was there something that you would be pursuing if you weren't doing substitute teaching?
Either a history teacher or working something related to history, but maybe the AI might. I really don't know what's.
How about solving the mysteries of the past? Using AI to
Right.
get all that
Sure.
data and feed
yeah.
it to you in a way that you could resolve.
I think when AI takes our job, we get to use AI to do what we wanted to do better.
Fair. It is. I don't know. It's kind of like a new. It would be a new world for me because I
Yeah.
grew up learning the appreciation for. Okay, I will not. Okay, there are moments in which I would like to be a full-time historian and do research, but I learned like the basic ethics of working hard to earn it and do not accept free load.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but I see, like, I suppose if an AI like takes all the basic jobs that I apply for, I might have to see if I could see what I can to get an AI to say, all right, help me so I can reinvent myself, so I can provide for myself and various other things.
I think there's going to be a lot of that going on.
There is right now.
Yeah, there's a lot
People
of
are
that
already
going on.
using
Right.
ChatGPT to do that.
Right. So so I'll turn the question back on to me. What am I going to do to reinvent myself when an AI photographer can take better pictures than me, more precise, you know? The thing that I bring to events and stuff like that and photograph is fortunately my personality. Can AI mimic my personality? Yeah, they can possibly mimic bits and pieces of who I am, but I think that's going to take a little bit longer to do than just replace the technical job of running my job. And the other thing is I think when I'm doing this, well, the great thing is I would like to get to a point where I'm using AI though to expand what I'm doing and who I am, and not just that, but to earn this passive income where I can finally live my life how I want to live it before it's retirement time, you know, and that's my goal. And then this selfie museum here, will people still need to come and take pictures of stuff and of models if robots can do it for them? I'm not the one that's taking pictures anyways right now, but people, I think eventually it'll evolve into an experience, common experience with other people, with humans, and with these backgrounds. I think AI is going to help me create backgrounds that's more interactive, more lively, more. But that's a positive side of me, anyways.
Well, yeah.
Thinking that those possibilities are there, and that I'm not gonna be like, okay, I'm done for. But meanwhile, I'm still looking for ways to have AI earn money for me in the background, where I can actually live my life that will cover my basic needs.
You are different than me on this because
Yeah.
I'm a historian by profession. My profession is in the past, but at the same time understand and we struggle in the present because not very many people understand the past
Yep.
or the
I agree.
and like are focused on the future. But I understand to stay relevant in the future, learning from the past, the empires and civilizations that adapt to new innovations and and learn how to make their societies work with new ideas, they survive. Rome lasted for 1,000 years because they found these new technologies from their foes and learned to adapt them to suit their interests. Civilizations that fail to do that,
Where are they?
civilizations
Where-
that fail to do that, they die out far faster than the other ones. So
And we're young. Our
So-
nation is young.
So with that historical lesson, even though I'm, like I said, I'm rather suspicious with how far they're pushing AI without any thought or regards to the consequences, I understand that if this is going to be new, there is a chance there might be a question over whether or not they need a human to do my job, which means I might have to find a way to use AI for my own benefit and such.
If I get my job taken by AI, I would love to have a lab that figures out how to live forever. Anti-gravity. I would be working on all those things.
Yeah. I mean, you can dedicate your life for your passions. That's how I see it. You know, when AI takes over some of our jobs and stuff like that, I'm like, well, now I can focus on my passions
Yep.
and not just paying the bills.
I
When the bills are automatically paid for us because AI
I gotta
is
show my
doing
shirt too, by the way.
stuff. Yeah.
I actually
funny.
just have a thought. It's like, but there is a concern I have because bills still have to be paid. That's kind of the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
So, is it going to be AI is going to take your jobs, or is it you are required to have an AI to do this job?
I think
Do
eventually
this
we're gonna be
do this job, and you send your AI to work.
right. I think
I was gonna wear the shirt when I came in.
when AI takes over, do we still get weekends off? Every day will be a weekend.
I feel like AI is going to be in uncharted territory. I mean,
It is still it's still uncharted. When I say we won't need to work, I mean we don't need to work in the sense that we're used to thinking of work.
fair.
But I think we are still working because we're working on our passion projects. Passion projects that would still require effort, time, dedication, all those skills that we develop to do our jobs today. I think will still exist.
Well, I still have a history of the war in Russia, movies, video series of the Russian war between Russia and Ukraine to do on my Crusader Historian video. And also I have a complaint video about the recent Stunt Wizards of the Coast has done for my Sage of Calidor channel. So I guess you could say you're right. I still have some things.
Right. Doesn't it still take focus and hard work and dedication to do those projects that we don't get paid for?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, how many hours you put into some of those T-shirts that you put together, right?
Tons.
Designs, exactly.
That'll be taken over though. That
Yeah.
T-shirts will be auto-generated by algorithms and AI that figures out what's trending and what people. But fitness, that's not going away.
Right.
You got to personal trainers, fitness.
Right.
Yeah.
Be on it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you
I'll
can-
be into that along with my lab of figuring out anti-aging and anti-gravity and all that
No,
good
so
stuff.
I think it's just gonna cause people to pivot. We're used to using that word now. We're change,
Better pivot.
reinvent ourselves, and it's not necessarily a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think
No.
just caution.
Yeah.
That's it. Just caution.
No. So thank you guys for joining me in this podcast. I'm so happy that Average Joe Daily Show is back on, and
We're going to try to do it every Tuesday.
yeah, we're gonna try to be here every
So-
Tuesday to make this happen. So
I may not be next Tuesday because I don't get back till.
well, I'll most likely be here. I might.
I will actually be in here and out as an occasional guest.
Yes.
speaker.
Yeah. Ethan will be an occasional guest here, but I'll be bringing other guests here to talk and discuss the matters of concerns for the average Joes in our country.
Or cool stuff.
Beyond.
Like things
Or
that are
cool
cool.
stuff.
It's not.
Yeah, definitely. This is
This is all cool.
I think so. I think this is a topic that's going to go on for a while, and I think maybe future podcasts we can dig in deeper into like one part of AI versus in this industry. Man, we haven't even talked about some of the Tesla homes and what that
So
is.
much stuff.
So there's so much stuff that we can talk about. Man, space travel, all that good stuff.
and we're just average people.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not we only have one college graduate here, and
Hey, does an associates from a technical institute count?
you're further along than I am. I only.
But I've forgotten all that
semester.
information, so it doesn't even matter
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, I may be a master student. I'm at heart an average Joe because let's just say I've already given up this stuck-up elitist attitude for a long time ago. Anyway,
It doesn't. Well, I don't know. Some people get far with it, but I don't. I don't like that
Yeah.
way of
so-
thinking.
All right, we appreciate you guys joining us, and if you have any questions about what we've discussed, please place a comment, and we'll get back to you. I'll try to respond to every single comment that comes on, and please try not to troll the channel. And, if you do, that's okay. It's still a conversation.
Hey, more comments than the algorithm's picking up. So if this is on YouTube, smash the like button, hit the bell notification icon,
If
and
you
leave
really
a
wanna-
comment below.
If you want to hear more and are interested in us or our personality, subscribe to the channel.
Or if you don't want to hear from us, tell us too.
That's right. Yeah, and if you really hate us, press the thumbs down button twice.
Yeah. Does it exist anymore? Is there a thumbs down?
I think there is a thumbs
There
down
is.
button.
Did they leave it?
They left it, but you do not see how many dislikes.
Oh, you
No,
don't
you
actually
don't.
see the number.
No, you don't see the numbers.
That's a shame.
Yeah. So,
We're that
so what do you guys
fragile.
think? What do you guys think of the topic that we've discussed? I mean, there's a lot that we can go through, huh?
I am the whole thing with Tesla and stuff is still way over my area. I'd be like, what's going on? But I'm more than happy to talk when it comes down to space travel.
Yeah.
things.
Well, the Tesla home, you know about the Tesla home, right? It's like, it's a $50,000 home that runs on itself.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like a studio apartment, but it's like very energy efficient. It provides its own electricity. It comes fully furnished with TV, microwave, stove, refrigerator, and
Did you mention the cost of them?
$50,000.
$50,000.
which is dirt cheap for today's. I think houses like this is going to solve the housing problems across the country and the world. Is to have these modular, basically it's a modular home, that unfolds. It fits on an 8-foot wide bed, and it unfolds at your location. So that means you can transport that house to more remote locations.
Hey, I love it.
Than average homes.
Just got to somehow get basic plumbing and
Right.
drainage to it.
Right. Yeah. So and then you can get his satellite for a Wi-Fi. What's that satellite?
Starlink.
Starlink for
Yeah.
satellite. And I have a friend that uses Starlink in the middle of nowhere in Maine. They said it works awesome even when it's covered in snow.
So you can be off grid and on grid at the same time.
Right. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool?
Ooh.
So there's other companies that's building these homes that are like modular, and they're low price again and very energy efficient. But the only thing about the Tesla home that I really love is it provides all of its own electricity power.
I'm all for that.
I feel like the future is going to be more Star Wars than Star Trek. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Star Trek's too much of a utopia. You know, like
Yeah.
it was great
Mm-hmm.
to dream that way, but I don't
Yeah.
think that's possible.
Well, I don't think it's
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it's as realistic. I mean, I don't know. I think it might take another planet. Who knows?
Yeah, at least Star Wars, you're still in the universe where everybody's just battling constantly.
Right. I think
That's more like human nature.
I
Yeah.
think some way our human instincts have to change.
That's going to take some time.
That's the only way.
Evolution is slow.
It might take another million years or so. I don't know. Another 20,000 years is when they discovered that possible first man survived. That the rest of the scientific community hasn't.
Well,
Hmm.
if we get to that, we might skip Star Trek and go directly to Imperium of Man, but a nicer version of that. Am I the only one that knows about Warhammer 40K?
I don't think I've heard of that.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm gonna look it up. You're gonna send that to me, okay?
It's rather unpleasant, but I will. It is.
Do it. Well, I'm editing all the time, so I like to have something
Something
playing
to
on the
watch,
screen.
something to look
Yeah,
at.
listen to in the background. I'm going through. I'm like binging on Cowboy Bebop right now, the animated series, not the live action.
Cowboy
Well-
Bebop?
You haven't seen Cowboy Bebop?
I don't
dude?
even know what you're talking
Oh
about.
man, so the main character fights like his name's Spike. He fights like Bruce Lee. Animated.
Okay.
You gotta see it, dude.
Warhammer 40K is not a TV series. It's based on a tabletop
Gaming.
game that you play, and it takes place in like a fictional sci-fi version of the known universe or the known galaxy. And it's like there's a state dominated with the central theme is humanity is governed by this galactic spanning empire fighting against enemies on its own on all sides, but due to some internal issues there's fears that it is crumbling from within, and so that's kind of what it is about. A little bit more grim than Star Trek, and probably not as realistic as Star Wars, but
Mm.
but
Yeah, no. I think I thought of a guest